It has now been made more clear by the Chicago Bulls and their front office that they are not planning to go the full rebuild that some Bulls fans are thinking they're going. We're going to talk about the report that just came out most recently. We're going to get into all that and more right after this.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bulls Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bulls news and content.
What's going on, Bulls fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bulls Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related. I'm the host here, Haize, holding it down for myself, I guess, the team, the Chi-Town Sports Central team. Make sure you guys are checking out the Chi-Town Sports Central family. If you're a fan of any Chicago sports team, we probably got a podcast for you. Chicago White Sox and Chicago Cubs Central, Chicago Blackhawks Central, Chicago, Sky Central, Chicago Bears Central, of course, Chicago Bulls Central, where you find yourself at here now. And we're looking to add a Chicago Fire show as well. So if you guys are interested in that, let me know if you guys are anybody's interested in hosting. But with that said, let's go ahead and get into the Bulls topics for today. So it came out today that right now, and I'm going to read a direct quote. And this is important, right? This one comes from Michael Scotto, who reports that the Bulls are currently looking for players that can help them win now and maybe a pick down the line if they can add that to the cupboard. They are not looking to go full rebuild. I've been telling you guys this now for the better part of basically since the Zach LaVine trade came out, is that the Bulls, while I get it, they're moving Zach LaVine is a major piece, they're not necessarily all of a sudden looking to bottom out. They're not looking to be a team that's just going to be bad. They're not going to commit to that. AK has never done that. Since the Carmelo Anthony trade, since he left the Denver Nuggets, they have never had a team that's won less than 30 games. Now, again, 30 games isn't an amazing mark by any stretch of the imagination, and that was long before AK came there as well, but they are not been a franchise that is completely bottomed out to just increase their value. I know a lot of people have this thought process that you have to tank to get the best talent to then get yourself better. That's a route that many teams go, but it's not a route that always is going to guarantee you to become a championship contender, and that is not the route that AK in this front office is going. That doesn't mean that I necessarily always agree with it, but I understand it. And I think we have to come to the reality and the fruition and just the understanding that this is not going to be a team that bottoms out. It's just not to. They're not going to go full rebuild. They're not going to blow it all up to just be bad for years. This is going to be a team that is always going to try to add pieces to whatever the direction that this team is. That means even after the Zach LaVine trade, that means even after if DeMar DeRozan's moved on, they're still going to be a team that is trying to compete for at least a play-in or playoff spot. They're trying to be the best that they possibly can be and finding the right pieces that fit together. Does that mean it's always going to be successful? No. Does that mean they're going to make the playoffs just because they're aiming to try to make a play-in? No, it does not mean that at all either. This team very well could still end up in the lottery, even with trying to find the right pieces to try to get them to win now. And that, if they do that, and let's say they do get lucky. Let's say they are a team that competes. They don't make it into the play-in tournament, or they get eliminated in that first game of the play-in tournament. They go into the lottery. Let's say by some chance they end up getting a top 4 pick in the lottery. That is then you're adding a top 4 pick to a lineup that already has some heart, that already has a direction. You're not trying to find your player to get your direction. I'm not expecting everyone to agree with that. I want to be clear there. Not expecting that any stretch everyone to agree with that direction, but that is what the front office has been, and that's what they are telling us as well is going to happen with this team, and we got to just come to it. All the trade machine things that you guys are doing to blow this up, to blow that up, to trade DeMar, to trade Vooch, to trade Patrick Williams, it's probably not coming. You could very well see the only move that the Chicago Bulls team makes by this trade deadline is the Zach LaVine trade. Now, DeMar could be moved as well, especially with that extension talks not going the way that the Bulls would want. But overall, you're not going to see this team go in a direction and area where they're trying to be one of the bottom teams in the NBA. It's just not going to happen. And I think that, it's good to just hear that now so people can come. And I know some people are still going to have their doubts on if that's really going to happen, but that is what teams have always kind of said. That's what we've always heard. That's what's always been the case. This is not going to be a team that tries to get into that area of just being bad, and people have to realize that. You got to stop being surprised by what this team is going to do. Now, with that said, we're nearing that December 15th date, and there are some players that become available. For example, the Lakers, D'Angelo Russell, Gabe Vincent, Christian Wood, all become available to be traded by that December 15th date. We know that the Lakers have been rumored as a team that's interested in both DeMar and Zach LaVine. the Cleveland Cavaliers, Karis LeVert becomes eligible to be moved by the December 15th. So, that's another one. I don't think the Cavaliers are really going to be a team that's interested in that. Before the Bulls, Javon Carter and Torrey Craig become eligible to be moved by that December 15th date. I do think that there's a chance that one of them could be included in the Zach LaVine trade, depending on if you got to open up a roster spot or if you have to free up a little bit more money if you're taking on more salary back, right? So those are some things to look out for. Are they the great options? No, but there are, that's what starts happening if you start looking at players that can become available at that December 15th deadline. And they're not all of it, but again, you're going to see this team try to add pieces that can add to this core and that they can keep trying to win. Maybe even adopt this new play style that we've seen from this team, be a little bit more consistent. But you're not going to see this team bottom out. And I know that there are going to be some Bulls fans that are absolutely upset by that. There's going to be some Bulls fans that think, hey, is this mismanaged? Is this management doing the wrong thing again? There's going to be some of that for sure. But when it comes down to it, that is the direction that this front office is picking, and we'll see if they're successful in it. There's going to be some doubts. There's going to be some hope either way. But, hey, that's where we stand right now. And when somebody tells you who they are, you got to believe them. And so we'll end up seeing what it comes down to, man. I know some people are going to be upset to hear that, but it kind of is what it is. But let me know your thoughts down below. You guys can follow the show at Bull Central Pod. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, bullcentralpod@gmail.com. And then lastly, if you want to leave a text message and or voicemail, the number to do so, 773-270-2799. We are the number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related. And thank you for, and we're the, thanks to you guys. I'm off my rocker today. We're the number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related. Thanks to you guys. And like I like to end every episode on, go Bulls. Love you guys. See you right if you can, y'all. Peace.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.